get ready, tune in, unwind. It's the Smoke World Podcast. It's time to talk about what's happening, baby. So run, don't crawl. It's the Smoke World Podcast. It's time to think, so go ahead and get yourself a smooth drink. It's the Smoke World Podcast. Light up your cigar, put your feet up, and don't go too far. So tune in weekly in your car, at home, or on your phone, and listen in the Smoke World Podcast, hosted by Stone.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass, whatever you're drinking. Let's sit back and have a conversation. All right, today we're live again, L-I-V-E, live again at the lounge. Brother George is in the building, GLC Cigars. We got Sam over here. We got Vargas in the building. We're going to start with you, Brother George.
All right, brother.
Talk to us about what you got going on here. You got a cigar brand, brother. So how did this whole thing, how did this concept come about?
I fell into it by accident. I started in hemp and CBD.
You smoking weed, huh?
Nah, I didn't smoke weed. I work at the port, so I can't smoke weed.
You can mind his business too.
Yeah. That's my baby over there.
Yeah.
But fell into it by accident. Came up with the idea of doing a hemp cigar with hemp rolled with tobacco. Got with a brother down in the Baltimore area, and something happened with his business, and it just didn't work out. By that time, I had already started getting my own cigars in. I already had my license, I already had the business. So I said, you know what, I'm going to keep rolling with it. So we parted ways. I bought him out, rebranded, and now we're here.
Okay, let's talk about this product that you was going to make. The hemp.
Right.
Did you make it?
No, we did not make it. It was a partnership with him. I had the hemp, he had the tobacco, and it just didn't work out. So I'm working on it, though. I'm working on something.
Y'all didn't have no trial. Y'all didn't need to try one out.
No, it never even rolled. It never came out to production. It was just the idea.
Really? Interesting.
It was just the
Yeah, I was gonna ask for a sample.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm working on it.
Okay.
You know,
That's a very
I'm
interesting
working on
concept. Okay, so how long has the business been in existence at this moment?
About 2 years. I bought my share out, rebranded. We came to a meeting in around February. I was just selling other cigars. I was mobile, pop-ups here, pop-ups there.
Okay.
And then I partnered with a factory down in the DR.
Okay.
And we're rolling cigars out there. I get some of my cigars rolled in Estelí.
Okay.
And then we went a full launch about March 1st. And we dropped a cigar pretty much every week after that.
Drop the cigar every week?
Every week we dropped a new cigar.
So how many faces are in the...
So right now what we got 6.
Okay.
We have some infused cigars too.
Okay.
They call it Hibero. Am I saying that right?
The what?
The indigenous people of Puerto Rico. Is it Hibero?
Taínos.
No, well, I know that, but the farmers.
Hibaro.
That's that. So we have some of our flavor cigars. That's the concept we have. So a lot of our cigars are culture based.
Okay.
I got the Egyptian culture. I got Nefertiti over there, which is a sweet cat.
Okay.
We have Valley of the Kings. We have two blends for the Valley of the Kings. I have a Masonic cigar over there.
Oh, Masonic. Okay. Which one what's that called?
The Masonic is the Widow's Son.
The Widow's Son.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we got that. So I mean, we're based a lot on culture. We love culture. We have the Geisha, which is a full infused cigar. I believe you smoked the Geisha. That's a full infused cigar. We got one called the Miko, which is a flavored cigar.
Okay.
So I mean, we got a lot in rolling out. We have a lot rolling out.
So it's been 2 years. So how's business been going for you so far?
Good. You know, we're starting slow, but we're making it.
Okay.
We're making it.
So this is a question I always ask independent cigar boutique companies, because a lot of times, you know, as cigar smokers, I don't want to say think, but a lot of times we sit in the lounge, we have a conversation, and some of the greatest ideas come from the lounge.
Right.
We got talkers, then we got doers.
Right.
Some folks, we just talk about the great ideas, but we don't do anything. But then there's other folks like yourself, sit around with great brothers and sisters and say, you know what, I'm gonna start a line of cigars. So with that being the case, now if you've been down the road what can you tell someone who's thinking about going down that same road to do the same thing? Because it looks easy. Everybody wants to give me, I can sell cigars. But give us the background, I mean, the nitty gritty. Is it an easy grind, or you kind of, this ain't as easy as you think it is?
It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard. But believe in yourself.
Okay.
Because if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. And that goes with saying, I'm up at night, grinding my wheels, trying to figure out what I'm going to come out with next, what I think people are going to like, what I think people aren't going to like, if it's going to be a catchy band or not. Am I going to get the hottest band out there? I mean, you can have a good cigar with a trashy band, or you can have a hot band and a trashy cigar. You got to find the medium. But it's not easy at all. It's not easy, and you're going to spend some money. You definitely going to spend some money, but do it. You're not going to know unless you try. If you fail, you can say at least you tried.
Well, you've been down that road.
Absolutely.
So what's your experience, brother? So you put the fork and smack in your mouth, but I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah. So for me, and George and I were talking about this earlier, is that one of the things you got to think about is, are you going to do this as an individual, or are you going to do it with a partner? And when you're in a lounge and you're chilling and you're talking, or like we're doing a roundtable session right now, and this is when the great ideas always come about, right? Is when you're getting that bond time over the leaf, right? Because the leaf is like the best thing out there. This, it transcends everything.
Absolutely.
The problem is that people hear the idea, they want to run with the idea, but they may not be on the same plan or trajectory as you are.
Exactly.
Right? And that's where the disconnect comes into play. Because we were laughing about this earlier when we were talking about, we use fiber for our design. Mm-hmm. And, some of the designers may be in the UK, they may be in Indonesia, they may be in Thailand, they may be wherever. They're 12 hours ahead of us. So to have a conference call or a Zoom meeting, you're up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you got to work the next day. And you're on a meeting till 2, 3 hours trying to get everything done. And if that partner's not putting in that same work with you, and that's not even including the money, because it's really, like he said, it's about the money.
Always.
And then because to pay for cigars, to pay for the bands, all that costs money. To buy samples costs money.
Yeah.
To buy samples from certain blenders per se costs money, because he's done his due diligence, and you're looking at 6, 7 different blenders. They don't pass no shit off for free. They're like, oh, you want a sample box? You want 50 cigars? That's $50. They'll give you free shipping.
Oh, and plus, if you didn't pick that blend, somebody else is picking that blend.
Somebody's picking that blend.
You
So
know what I
then
mean?
you look at the incurred cost just to get to production to where he's at the table right here is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 minimum.
Boxes, you got to buy
Minimum.
boxes.
The bands,
Packaging.
putting the bands on. Or if you're dealing with the factory, are you going to have the factory put the bands on, put the plastic on, the shipment,
And when you get your cigars and the bands is wrong.
and the bands?
Tell me about that.
Wait a minute. Hold
Yeah,
on, Poppy.
yeah,
Hold on,
yeah.
Poppy.
Yeah.
Quality control.
Yeah, it's something happened and it's slipped through.
Or you expecting 1,000 cigars, they only send you 500.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they're not trying to pay you.
It happens.
It happens, right?
So we're gonna cut you a deal in the next order.
Yeah, with that bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's like, to answer your question, I said all that so that this way people understand those steps, and those are just small steps, because you're looking at your Delaware license or whatever state you're in, your vending license if you're going to vend. It's incurred costs after incurred costs after incurred costs.
Where you gonna keep the cigars at when you get them?
Where you going to get them? How many humi packs you buying?
How
Where
many
you gonna put
humidors
them
you
at?
gonna buy?
Right, so if you're gonna have a partner, you got to make sure that partner, one, has the money up front, right, and then two, because the issue I ran into, and you know it personally, Stone, because I consulted with you about it, right?
sir.
And the powers that be may be upset about the story. I'm gonna say, I remember having a business meeting and sitting down and broke out the spreadsheets and sat across from him and said, "Hey, this is how much I spent. This is your half." And he folded the paper up, put it in his pocket, and was like, "I'll get back to you." I was so fucked up mentally and emotionally, it set me back 2 years because I was like, I wasn't even motivated to move forward.
I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And what I've learned from business is like every business is the same. Everyone. And the number one problem that you have when you're opening a business, especially when you got a partner, is people, like to your point, the hard costs you have, but people don't put a number on the sweat equity. If you don't put a number on the sweat equity, if you don't, before you even talk how much money you putting in, like we talked earlier, you got to talk to your partners about how much time you gonna put.
So expand on that some more, Sam, because people really
They
don't
don't
understand sweat equity.
They don't understand that sweat equity.
Because I'll give you an example of sweat equity and incurred cost of the cigar, right?
Yep.
So does everybody here watch Shark Tank? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever the lady's name is that owns QVC or whatever it is, right?
Court, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She in her book she states, if you're gonna do something, put it out there as a sample for a while to see how people react to it, and then take the best product and then move on.
Yep.
Right? So when I started off with 15 different blenders. Right? That's 100 cigar orders from 15. Right? All those cigars got given away for free.
Yeah.
So that this way someone, people could give me their feedback as to what was a good cigar. Right? That went from 15 to 10, second round. That's another $1,000 out.
Exactly.
Right? And then running around from here to Baltimore to DC and Philly and getting feedback. And then that 10 went to 5.
Yep.
And then that 5 went to the final 4. But every time there was a cut down, there was another $400 had to be invested, or $100 4 different times, or 10 different times. So $1,500 the first time, $1,000 the second time. $500 the second time, and then right then and there I was done because I figured out. But that's incurred cost, and I was literally the one running around, putting all the work in.
Exactly.
So expand on it. Like people don't understand, and then you got somebody who just sits there and goes, yeah,
and just wait. They don't. It's real tough. Before I opened my pharmacy, I was real successful with my parking company, but when I opened my pharmacy, I got a guy that my buddy owns a real estate company. He does mortgages, they own a title company, does insurance. And he broke it down to me. He said, Sam, look, to your point, he said, when I send out flyers, I send out 10,000 flyers. I expect 1,000 people to respond to the flyers. I'll get 100 to get a phone call meeting, to get a meeting on the phone.
So it's a turnover of 1%.
Turnover. He said I'll get 10 to come to the office, have a meeting. He said, and I'll close 2 of those.
Wow. Out of 10,000.
The 10,000. And that's the rule. That's the rule. You got to put in that work, and people don't understand. To your point, like, one thing people don't understand, and I learned this, is that when you were making those trips to Philly and Delaware and driving around, people don't understand that mileage cost on your car, the gas you put in, and then if you got a partner, if you marry and your wife or your significant other see that this is her habits has changed or your habits has changed, because you spending so much money on gas and you don't understand. You thinking about the 1,000, but that 30, 4 times a week up to 50, that's 120. 5 weeks, you up over $1,000 before you know it. And then the hardest conversation is talking to somebody that was gung-ho about going into business with you. And when you break down those costs to them, and they sit there with that dumb look on their face, like, well, man, you, because they always revert to, well, you told me we'd be selling a lot faster, we'd be doing this. Because in your mind, you thought you was, because you thought it was going to be double the work, double the help. But it came down time 2. You know, so I don't do any more business with partners. I don't do no business with partners because people don't understand the time. Like everybody asks me right now about with the clothes and all that. How come you don't have a website? How come you don't have Instagram? Because I paid all this money for Instagram, paid all this money for website. You know what it got me? It got me where I had to hire somebody to answer the phone.
Yeah.
And then you ain't closing the deals because you on the phone all the time. You ain't closing. You spending all that time closing, and then you producing the orders that you got late into the evening, and then that helped because I had a partner with the close phase. I just look done. We done. And to your point, you wanted he was strict. He wanted to use Fiverr. Oh, let's use Fiverr. Let's charge him for the design. Let's use Fiverr. I said, nah. I'm gonna learn Adobe Illustrator. I'm gonna learn Photoshop. I'm gonna do all of that. I'm not gonna use Fiverr. And they said, how come you ain't using Fiverr? I said, because my customer calling me at 1 o'clock. I can't get it to the boy in Poland till 10 at night. And then he got approved throughout the day. Then if it's a change, when I talk to you tomorrow at 1, I can't get that done to 1. So, you know what you gotta do? That old saying, you gotta spend money to make money. Get one of these people over here that's gonna do it. It's gonna cost you more.
Yeah.
Just because it's cheap don't mean that it's right. It's gonna cost you more. You gotta put that money in. You gotta put the time in. If you got a partner that ain't willing to put the time in with you, that you spending on it, that because they always happy with the vision when you first talking. And they always, in the worst, you did your business in February, right? Yeah. You did your February. And I ain't gonna try to tell your business or anything like that.
No, you good.
But most businesses that start in February fail. Not saying you're gonna fail.
Oh, right.
Because they're on a tax refund high. So they pockets a little more heavier than what they used to be in February. This is a proven fact.
Everybody out there in February.
Everybody.
With them temp tags.
With them temp. Oh, I was so busy in February. You know, we're sitting at the lounge. Everybody want to start a clothing brand in February.
Yup.
They got their tag. They order all these shirts. I got so many shirts and so much inventory at the house that people then bought,
Right.
and then say, "Oh, Sam, just give me 100, print 100 for me now." I print 100, get it to them, and
Never
then
came back.
they never come back. They don't sell those 100. They sell in March, in April.
You know what I did in February?
Yeah.
I spent $1,500 on camera equipment to teach myself how to take my own product photos.
Yep.
I didn't spend it on cigars.
Right. Smart move.
Yeah.
I took the money and got equipment so I could learn how to do everything myself.
Let's be honest about something. And y'all can pull this up on your phone. McDonald's is garbage. The fries ain't what they used to be. But McDonald's spend more money on marketing.
Yes.
What did I tell you, George, earlier?
Yep.
That's
We were talking about Al Capone cigars, right?
Yeah.
That's a plug. Fuck that. I mean, they ain't paying us anyway.
Yeah.
but
damn.
but on some
Shots
real,
fired.
on some
Stand
real,
by.
Come get them El Diablos.
if you had an Al Capone, it's really just a beefed up black and mild, right?
Yep.
But
I got a better stick than
the
Al
only
Capone.
reason why they even get any pub like that is because of the marketing power.
And they went
every 5 minutes or
and
every
they went to
5
the
seconds.
hood. They went to the hood.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
if you think about,
Yeah.
if you listen to 99, 105,
Every 20
107,
minutes. Every 20 minutes.
that's all you hear is Al Capone. And the only difference between the bigger companies and us, as far as being small entrepreneurs, is really, and you know the marketing strategy, is really marketing dollars.
Your marketing dollars.
Because
Yep.
it's just like there's an HVAC company that runs around here with orange trucks, right? I'm not gonna give them a plug, right? When shit break down, they're the first people to call because that's
You know
all you
that
see
orange
on
truck.
TV
Yep.
or you see the billboards.
Yep.
It's the marketing power.
Yeah. Marketing
And
power,
everybody, for some reason, dumbass consumers, unfortunately, right, from this perspective, they equate marketing dollars to quality.
Yep.
That's the game.
Yep.
That is the game. That's the
You know what I mean?
psychology.
They in the
It's
matrix on that
psychology
shit.
out there.
And that brings me back to like when I say about the bands. When I first got into cigars, oh, that's a hot band. That's got to be a dope cigar. That's a hot band. Then I tried it, it's trash. But they had the marketing.
Yes, you
They
went
had
to
the
base
funds
dope.
for the marketing.
Yes,
The
it's
marketing.
the game.
It's
That's
the
the
game.
biggest budget of any company.
Bro,
is their marketing budget.
it's funny because if you follow a lot of the cigar lines, some of their cigar lines, like if you go to a store and you see the cigar get not getting any play, and it might have been a good cigar, right? It just didn't get any play. That particular company will rebrand that cigar and will sell the same cigar
Yes.
over again,
Many times.
but just with a banging band or a banging box.
We about to
think
be like
about-
China
think about-
and
think about the
expose
time-
it.
Yes.
Like
That
think about the
game-
time when years ago when they had the one John that was in the ammo cases.
Oh, I,
They was
yeah,
just buying it just because of that.
Yeah,
Walk,
they did.
everybody walk around. Yeah.
Yeah. But you got the same blender, blending the same cigar.
Same blender.
We got some cigars blended by some top name. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say no names, but you looking at and you gotta sign a non-DA.
Right.
So you know, what I mean, once you sign that non-disclosure, you can't say
And
nothing.
you gotta know your consumer too.
Right.
You gotta know who buying. You gotta know who you marketing to.
Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna say this about Matt Booth. He was like, listen, fuck them bands. Fuck them bands. Sell your bundle, forget the bands. Getting all that's extra money. If your cigar is dope, you got a great cigar, they're gonna come back to the cigar.
Yeah.
Nobody
Right.
buying the cigar.
Nobody
but
gives a
again,
fuck about the band.
Right, real cigar smokers. But now again, you sitting in the humidor, cats don't know no better. We love them. They coming in, they may be new. Going back to your point,
Right.
looking at the band, oh, that band's going to catch their eye. And again, that's the marketing game. But trash cigar.
We got a line coming out called "No Face, No Case." Don't got no bands on them. We just got a hang tag with a fancy little saying on it. But the cigars are dope.
That's the whole.
We like,
key.
we're not even doing the bands. The boxes, the boxes is cool. But when you take that, but
You
when you
smoking no
if
box.
you got
You
a
ain't
big
smoking no
if you
bag.
got a big humidor at home, and you buy a box at a brick and mortar or wherever, you gonna take them out the box.
Absolutely.
I don't got no boxes in my humidor. Toss it. Might make a little lamp out of the boxes
right.
or whatever.
If you're that guy,
If
or
you
that
guy.
girl,
Yeah, but
that's
yeah,
trash. Just
trash,
trash.
trash.
If anybody smoking boxes, nobody smoking bands.
Yeah.
Cigar will speak for itself.
Speak for itself.
You got a product.
I went to Blend Cigar in Pittsburgh, and up there, when you go on them AAU trips, you spend so much fucking money. You spend so much money.
And they raise the prices when
And
you
they
all
raise
get
the
out
price.
there.
So I go to Blend, and we in this real nice hotel. So I go to Blend, and I'm just gonna go in there and get me a glass of wine, me and my wife, and give me a little lever or something. Right. Man, I go in the Blend, and they had the humidors and everything out. It's beautiful. They had the humidor out, and this fine motherfucker walk up to me and say, "Hey, how you doing? Let me show you something." And walk in, and she take her key, and she open the door, and let me in that goddamn Davidoff room. I've been thinking about, I don't know if Davidoffs are that good. They are, or the way she treated me to go in there.
Combination.
So now all I dream
It's
about
called effervescence.
effervescence.
It was that one touch. You said, "Ooh, ooh."
Now
Yo, he was so shook. He had goosebumps on the top of the baldy.
I ended up buying four $40 Davidoffs.
Do you remember
Up
smoking
there.
them?
Yeah, I remember smoking. But now all I think about is I'm gonna hit the lottery so I can have Davidoffs
Every day.
all
All day.
every day. But what do I smoke all the time now? That I love. I smoke them Alevas.
That's a good smoke.
I say that 12, 13. You can't go wrong with that $12, $13 cigar all the time. You can't go wrong with it. You don't need that. But it's that marketing and that exclusivity.
Of course, bro.
You know.
Some of them were $5 cigars.
Oh, I'm
I mean, let's
smoking
keep it
at
real.
$7. I'm smoking-
You want you take that factory tour.
Actually,
After that,
actually,
them about $2
if you
$3.
when you at the factory, they only cost $4,
Yeah.
$5.
See,
It's
we
just by
know.
the time they get over here,
We
the
know
marketing,
what
yeah,
they.
we know.
You know what I mean? You know the ins and
Not
outs.
even
You
that, man.
No.
Because
some of the managers be like, yeah, you know it's only a $3 cigar.
Again, this
Highest
comes
price,
to
$3.
this. Well, hold on. This is when it comes down to the buying power, right? Because as a small independent cigar owner or brand, when you're buying your cigar, you're forced to buy it because you're only buying it in increments of maybe 300 to 500 at a time. You can only get them for like $3 a cigar. The bigger brands, they getting it at $1.75, 50 cent a cigar, because they're bringing them in at 10,000.
Or they got their own factory.
Or they got their own factory.
Yeah.
So that's the game, brother. That is the game. Now, somebody listening will be like, I don't want to do none of this. God damn.
Nah, shoot for
Well,
your
no,
dreams.
we're not trying to
Shoot for your
discourage
dreams.
anybody.
No, you ain't gonna be discouraged.
Because we already knew it was like this.
Yeah.
We just dropping game.
Yeah,
I didn't when I started. I ain't gonna lie, I had delusions of motherfucking grandeur. So
Yeah.
for me, I thought
But
I was.
you have to
I'm
though.
gonna be-
You know what I'm saying? Yo, I thought I was gonna be the next Jewish state out this bitch. You know what I'm
You
saying?
have to though.
Patrón, a ti patrón.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, like
Oye, patrón.
my Jewish boy
You know
told
what I mean? They was gonna call me Don Vargas. motherfucker.
Yeah. like my Jewish boy told me, he said, Sam, look, when you open a business, you gotta be excited. You gotta go in with both feet because you putting your whole family, you putting everything, your legacy, everything in jeopardy. One wrong move,
Yeah.
it's a wrap. It's
When
a
you
wrap.
do this business, you got to do it like you about to lose your crib.
Yeah.
If you don't have that behind you.
You gotta
And that's
be
the thing with
excited.
partner. If your partner can't see it the same way,
Yeah, that's wrong.
they never gonna see
People don't
it.
understand, bro. As a business owner, it don't even matter if a person is a Mary Kay. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, doing Mary Kay, right? Like you gotta sleep, eat, and breathe this. Just like like when we was doing sports when we was younger, right?
Yeah.
It's like you wake up thinking about it. You go to sleep thinking about it. You know what I mean? You on the throne thinking about it. You always thinking about it. You driving thinking about it. You thinking about what the next move is, what the next come up is.
It's a funny story. Listen, and it happened right next door in the barbershop. My son, big time basketball player, can go, right? And they said, man, Sam, what you gonna do when Chris go to the pros? Your boy go to the pros. I said, man, this nigga ain't going to the pros. And they looking at me like
Damn, we got a daddy.
damn, that's what they said. And they like, Chris, he's 6'7", long arms, can jump, can fly, can shoot better than anybody in Delaware. And they said, and they looking at me because they know I'm that helicopter dad. You know, everything I'm doing for them. And they said, why not? I said, man, what time is it? I said, what time is it? They said 11 o'clock. I said, how long I been here? Since about 9. I go next door and I just be bullshitting, right? They said, Sam, what the fuck that got to do with Chris going to the pros? I said, man, it's 11 o'clock. It's 5,000 people that's ever been in the NBA. And it's only 400 in the NBA a year. 400 players. Since the NBA been open, it's only 5,000 players that's ever been in the NBA. I said, this motherfucker still sleep. It's 11 o'clock, he's still asleep.
Jordan
You
was out
ain't
there
gonna-
hitting threes.
Yeah, you ain't
Yeah.
getting into this game. You ain't getting into this small company and you sleep and you got 10 million other motherfuckers out there grinding
same
and working
dream.
out.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Like
you think?
Kobe, man. Kobe was
you ain't
working
gonna get no
24/7.
business. Listen, my wife say to me, she said, you getting up, you gotta set hours. You know, you gotta stop at 5 and and do, you start up. Man, shit, I get an email come in at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. My shop is in my whole garage. I'm going to print now.
Right. You can
Get
do
it
that.
out the way. Get it. Oh, you do. You deliver them to people, your customers, and make sure that, look, you got to
Funny.
get it. Like they say in that one show, you got to make hay when the sun is shining. When you able to get it, you got to get it.
gotta
And
get it.
And to your point, if you got a partner that ain't got that same drive.
chutzpah.
That hook, you gon'
It's called ganas in Spanish.
Yeah.
The ganas. But you don't got it.
You ain't got it.
You ain't got it.
And you know, and here's the thing though, you know early when you working with somebody that ain't got it.
So so you just open up a can of worms.
Uh-oh.
Because this is where a lot of partners fuck up. They keep giving the person a pass,
Yeah.
thinking that they gonna come around.
Yeah.
Because it's a friendship. You don't want to mess that friendship
Mess
up.
up the friendship.
But at the end of the day, it's business. We can still be homies. You just this ain't for you.
Right, we ain't
You
on the same
different
page.
from me. Once
You different from
me
me.
because I done learned. Once you see it ain't what's up. It ain't no more holler. Once that I see, I cut them loose and I'm gone. I cut vendors loose. I cut because you can't wait. While you waiting, messing around, trying to repair a relationship, you fail. Your business is suffering. I cut them loose. As cool as I am, as nice as I am, soon as I see
You're cut. He
that-
cuts him.
Done.
Look,
You're done.
You're done.
You're
Soon as
done.
you see it, you got to. Soon as you had that gut feeling that, ooh, this ain't. Hey, we need to have a conversation. You have a strong, stern conversation, and if they ain't on that same wavelength, you like, because all it's gonna end up is
Causes
anger.
animosity. It causes animosity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it causes
causes
animosity.
a
It just
lot
gonna
of
end.
animosity.
So you might as well end on a good note and move on and let them talk about you or do whatever.
Yeah, you fucked up,
Because
man.
they talking
You
about
fucked
you.
me.
They talking about
You
you.
wrong for that, Sam.
Listen, when you was running up and down 95 to Philly and doing your thing,
It was him.
your partner,
Should have been doing it too.
and I don't know your
you
partner.
going north, you going south.
Yeah,
Right.
but let
None
me.
of that. You mean, yo, how you make out
He-
today?
And
How I make
you
out
in
today.
business now too. Watch his face when I say this. When you doing all the running, your partner think he's your boss.
Say it again. Say it again.
Partner thinks he's your boss when you doing everything.
Wow, did y'all hear that? That's
They
a gem
think
right there.
it's
That's a gem.
It's
That's a gem
flat
right
out.
there.
It's they think you're your boss. That's why the
what I
CEO.
said, how you make out?
telling-
How
You
you
ain't gonna
make out
never.
today?
Yeah, you ain't gonna never see the CEO on fries. You ain't gonna never see that motherfucker on
He ain't
fries,
cleaning the
man.
bathroom.
They see it. They look at you. They take kindness
For
for
weakness.
weakness. They see it and they see you out there grinding and they waiting for a return. And money don't work like that. Money don't flow to people that don't put in the time and the effort and all that kind of shit like that.
Not at all, because I see my bank account getting hit every time they hit for them cigars that get ordered. I see comes right on my phone. I'm like, damn.
Let me tell you something.
Damn.
We don't like, I ain't gonna even say his name, our current administration or whatever like that. But one thing you gotta get to that
Say you go to your man.
motherfucker.
You told me that's what you told me off the mic.
That's your
Okay,
homie.
But go ahead.
Look,
I'm gonna let you slide with that.
One thing that you gotta give to him
Cramping up.
and why
You're hurting up.
hurting him.
My ass hurts. Sitting on these hard ass chairs. Motherfuckers' hemorrhoids is all fucked up.
Pause.
Pause.
That's why,
Even with
that's why you
the
got a melon on your ass.
look, even with the inflation and everything, how good the economy was with Biden and all that kind of stuff like that. And the main reason, if people ain't looking at this, the main reason why people went away from him when they seen that he was in decline, because CEOs know at 3-4 in the morning, Trump beat Texas,
Oh yeah.
Trump beat Tweet.
Yeah.
You got CEOs know, corporate people know that they clock never switch off.
Yeah, if you a business
no-
person or a
Clock
businessman
never- you got to sleep.
and
drink,
they talk
think
about Trump, you like once you start making the money or you get to a different tax bracket or whatever, you sit back, you be like, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, you
course.
know what he talking about. Of
course.
You know, 'cause
Capitalism.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of nonsense, but when you gotta take care of your family,
Oh, yeah,
you sit
but
back, you
about
be
that
like,
money?
yeah, because I told my wife, she said something, I'm like, yeah, well, we're in a different tax bracket, so we're gonna
And
let
it gotta be aggressive.
Uncle Trump is cool right now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, perspective change.
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
the thing, and it has to be aggressive. When you in business, you have to be
yeah,
aggressive.
you have to.
You have to, because if you're not aggressive, Man.
And I stay out of politics with my business too, because I don't get into
Oh
it.
yeah,
Nah,
you
don't
do
ever
Because that'll take you down.
Like I
That'll
said,
take you down.
Republicans buy Jordan still.
Yeah.
Yo,
remember
yeah,
that. So
exactly.
Nobody will ever
Exactly.
Right. So we ain't playing that game.
I got one.
I seen a Republican driving a Honda, and some dude tried to clown me because I had, I got other businesses. I got a Honda that makes money for my business,
That part.
and he clowned me, said, "Oh, you act like it's a Porsche." I'm like, you got a poor man's mindset to think that
Talking some dumb shit.
I gotta have a Porsche to measure my wealth. I'm not buying no Porsche. It's a Porsche.
Come on, son.
Cars don't even excite me like that.
That part.
And look, I got a customer. They got 4 salesmen and a salesman in the I call it the bullpen. They got 4 salesmen in the bullpen, and their manager is, because I ain't gonna say the customer's name, but they all got different views on part. One half is for this party, one half for that party. Them motherfuckers have no idea what I am. If I'm talking to you,
Right.
I'm saying your thoughts and your beliefs.
Ride with you.
I'm talking to him, man. Yeah, you right in the mother. I don't never let them know what I'm thinking, because they take that shit personal,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah, they do.
take it personal, and they'll slow down.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that screen printed. I ain't gonna use DTF because Sam don't like this part.
Yep.
Now, fuck you, ain't gonna never know what I'm
They burnt the Tesla around the corner from my job, right at the corner.
Oh wow.
Burnt that bad boy to the ground. I
You
said,
can't.
God.
You get into that stuff like that, man. You get all excited.
And I wanted to get me a truck too, because I just thought them Jones was cool. I ain't buying one now.
Now I do got a question on the cigar scenario based on placement. That's a whole nother thing. Now you got
Yeah.
cigars. Now you got sell these things. So being able to get into different stores, online. Let's talk a little bit about that before we wrap up. That's a whole nother piece. Now
that's
you
a
got all
gate-
this. Now you got all this stuff.
Some of us are gatekeep.
Oh yeah.
Some of us,
that again?
some of us are gatekeep, and I'm gonna tell you that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Some? A whole
So,
bunch of
okay,
them
well, a whole
motherfuckers
bunch,
are.
but I don't mean to be racist, but I'm gonna go there.
It is what
It be
is.
your own people. So I was in a cigar group, and this young lady is part of another cigar brand. I'll say that. And someone chimes and says, "I want to start my own cigar line. What do you guys look for?" She comes in. Oh, well, if you're getting your cigars from so and so, and you buying 200 at a time, and this and that, I ain't gonna buy it. And I'm like, hold on, you came from nothing. You a little cute. A brand decided to pick you up, to bring you along, and now you gatekeeping. It be your own people.
No, that's true.
It's hard to get in lounges, but you just gotta go out there, face to face, bring them some cigars. Like you said, how many cigars you bought, and they all were given away? It happens.
Of course.
That's the only way you're gonna get in there.
Right. That's part of the business.
So going online, I reached out to some big box brands, I guess you're gonna call them, online, and they all owned by the same big
Yeah.
corporation. But they gonna gatekeep. You a small business, they don't even want to see you.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah,
He ain't moving too much.
unless you coming in with 1,000 boxes at a time at a discount premium.
Yeah.
And then your margins are so small at that point.
Even subscription boxes.
Yeah,
Some
even
of
the
the subscription
subscription.
boxes.
Yep.
They went. Oh man, you're lucky if you break even on the cigar.
Wow.
But here's the thing, what you got to understand. It's a book you got to get it's called Pitch Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Pitch Anything. And it teaches you how to market and how to sell and how to get in. And I learned this from one of my mentors. He said, Sam, in order, because it just ain't our own people. It's
everybody.
It's just the nature
Yeah,
of business.
yeah.
The gatekeeping. The way to get in is you got to flood them with stuff that's not associated with your product, but your name. That's why the promotional market is so big. When you get the bullshit pins, you get
The swag.
the swag.
The swag.
The swag gets you. You gotta find people's they pressure points, what they like, and how they get in. If somebody work at a daycare and you say deliver something, say, hey, you work at a daycare. Man, you know what, at daycare, they be needing Pampers at the daycare. What daycare your child at?
Well, look at Drew Estate.
Let's load them up with some Pampers.
Drew Street, the swag is hot.
You got the
They got
swag.
the biggest swag. They got the biggest swag
It's the
game
swag,
in
man.
the game.
You got to find what people want and what they like.
And
Now, I mean, I
ultimately-
backed away from Drew Estate because I had a little problem with them. You know, somebody was gatekeeping. I helped a small brick and mortar move some product. So I guess someone who worked there called one of their friends that, yo, ask that guy what he doing over there. And then that owner called me and was like, yo, don't you know they called me?
Really?
And I was trying to help him out. So, you know what I mean? I backed off of them, but they do have some hot swag. But I'm gonna say it. I keep it 100.
Listen, it's too many restaurants, too much
Too
food
much.
places. When you got to know what time such and such open, and have them deliver a pizza there, and just say, oh, this is CL Cigars here, just delivered for them. And then they gonna call you and say, hey, you had a pizza delivered here. Nah, that's for y'all, man. I just was thinking about y'all. I had a coupon.
That's dope. I'm
The
gonna try
pizza.
that.
You
I'ma try that.
Just hit people. Just always in their face and hit them. Send
hit
them
them,
donuts.
hit them, and start making them like you.
Yeah.
So
that relationship
so
goes far away.
one of the best books that I've read and that helped me out in business a lot is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah. I got that.
Right? But you got to read it. You can't just read it one time. You got to read it multiple times.
Yeah.
Because you'll pick up different things. And what happens is, especially in sales, some people think when you get into sales and you're sitting across from each other, it has to be an adversarial thing, right?
Nah.
And everybody can win. Everybody can win. Everybody can come across, right?
Yeah.
So, but really, what is the biggest common denominator that everybody, when they do business, right, is they want to do business with people they like.
Always.
It's really the ultimate game, right?
Yep.
Is really, it's all about your personality and liking. And like Sam said, little things, man, just like stopping by and dropping off donuts, something as simple as that,
Yeah.
you know? But again, that comes down to the sweat equity, because
Exactly.
that is actually a piece that's called cold calling and going out and doing certain things. And some people cannot take, if you're in sales, and especially if you're starting off, and when you're in business, you're in sales, because before you become a marketing manager, before you become a cigar entrepreneur, before you become a consultant, whatever you decide in life, you're gonna have to market yourself. You're gonna have to go out there and be in sales and step across and talk to people. Yeah. And what people don't realize is if you're not willing to get in front of people and talk to people, because there's a lot more no's than there is yes.
You're gonna die on the vine.
Right? And if you don't have, if you are unable to pick up a phone and make some phone calls, because some people will say, "Oh, I'm built like that." They're not.
They're not.
Because they not.
And you gotta be
Because
comfortable
the sales
getting.
game is totally different.
You have to be comfortable with being told no too.
Absolutely. Oh,
Bro, you're gonna get so look, in sales, right? In sales, Sam had mentioned about his boys sending out 10,000 flyers, right? So in sales, there's a average that they talk about, right? So if you're doing if your conversion rate is about 20%, right? So that means out of every 10 customers, you're converting 2 over, right? If you're doing 300, right, which is 3 out of 10, right? If you look at that and you correlate that to baseball, right? If you're batting every time you go to bat and you're hitting 3 out of 10, you're in the freaking Hall of Fame.
You're in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Right. Yep.
But you got to put the effort. You got to go out there and go to that plate and be willing to take them bumps, and or get blindsided some days, like a quarterback, because there's stuff coming at you. You have no idea that's happening, and no control.
No idea. Yep. And you got to learn how to pivot.
Oh yeah.
If something ain't working, don't be spending no time on
And
what ain't working.
that's the mistake I made with her.
Don't spend no time. It ain't working. You gotta drop
pivot
that
fast
and move. You gotta pivot. You gotta pivot. But you can do it but you on the right track though, just by doing this, showing you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, just by doing this. And then everybody like with me, you would not believe the number of people that text me talking about they starting a brand and all that kind of stuff. And I try to tell them, get off of that brand shit. Quit worrying about your name. They be more worried about they tag inside than they be worried about what the shirt, with the brand. Man, say, get off of that brand stuff. Nike was about to close down before they got Jordan. Nike couldn't break into the NBA market at all. From 72 up to 84, they were just selling running shoes with the track. That brands take a long time to penetrate the market to know. You got to make enough, like I learned, you got to make enough to get that new Honda Accord and don't be thinking about no Mercedes. Yeah. You got to hit a lot of base hits, and if a home run come,
you got to start somewhere.
Because in sales, what people don't realize is, and I say this all the time, the small deals pay the bills.
Yep.
The big deals pay the cornbread, the potatoes, the meat, and the gravy.
Yep.
And having fun. And that's what people don't realize.
Yeah, what they say don't buy a car unless you can buy 2 of them. My mindset, I don't buy it unless I can buy 4 of them. You got to have that mindset.
But you can't give up, though. You got to keep grinding.
Keep going.
Keep running.
You got to believe in yourself.
That believe in yourself and have the chutzpah and the ganas. The chutzpah to say, you know what, you told me no, fuck you 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to come by that building.
Yo, you know what? Good seeing you. Guess what?
I'll be back next week.
No, I ain't telling them that. But I'll be back next week.
Yep.
Right.
I'll be back in 2 weeks. Or in today's sale, because a lot of people, man, look, there's a lot of salesmen out there, and they want to always be using the term ABC, ABC, ABC. Always be closing, always be closing, always be closing. Look, in today's time,
we read the same books.
People don't want you pressuring them, right? The boiler room tactics are not successful. I've closed more deals just forming relationships with individuals, right? Something as simple as looking at the back of a car and seeing all the bumper stickers will tell you. Going on LinkedIn, seeing what their profile is. Going on Facebook, finding out what their activities is. Going on, seeing that his son plays basketball. If he didn't say that, and I did my research on Sam, and I come in, I'd be like, yeah, what you think about the playoffs? I'm not a basketball person, but I will be that day.
Yeah.
I will be that day, right? Yeah. So this is what forges the relationships. And that's what, when you start to get to these gatekeepers, those are the little things that you have to do. Like, hey, how are you today? What's going on? You having a good day? And that's how you start to knock them doors down and finally get in. But if a lot of people don't got that chutzpah like that, to keep it going.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up, brother. So listen, how can we support you? You got a website, social media, get your social media out.
Yeah, I'm on IG, GLC Cigars. We revamping the website. We were doing something different, but now we switched it up. So the website's active. It's glccigars.com. Okay. Go over there, hit us up. And that's it. I don't really do too much Facebook, but
okay, that's
Instagram's where it's at.
All
and
right,
then we got a couple events coming up down in Baltimore. Will be July 12th, ARs and Cigars shooting event down there. So I'll send you the flyer.
All right, that's what's up, folks. We appreciate y'all. Check y'all on the other side. Peace.
Mad shout out.
Later.
Peace.
It's the Smoke World Podcast. It's time.